fallout, smoke, women crying for their sons because their sons are not, Romans killing riotous groups that are rising up. Free Judea, free our people, autonomy for Israel. You had Herod, an Edomite, and his dynasty. Herod's ruling, killing any potential threat, any potential Messiah. Then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees that we learned from Josephus are not Jews by birth. No.
Brothers and sisters, they are there. We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.
Let's go! All praises be to the Most High God. Yeah, I say it.
I was opportune to meet my grandparents, whom from childhood had always made us to understand that we are one of the lost tribes of Israel. Okay. So from my grandmother.
And ethnicity is a cult. Let's go! What's up, Zion? Your favorite dreaded Israelite, the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. JB Zion. Y'all, show me some love, show me some love. Yoruba, and I am Raheem of the tribe of yourself. Y'all, welcome back to the channel, family. Welcome back to Zion Dynasty with yours truly. I'm back in the fringed up flesh, about to hit y'all with another bang. All glory, honor, dominion, and power to the Most High. Yeah, I say yeah, the Most High Yah. First, I gotta say peace, love, blessings to all my Israelite family, all my Israelite kings and queens. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all keep me motivated in days I'm in tears, in days I'm enraged, in days that I'm feeling like the whole world is against me. Y'all motivate me in ways you know not. Every comment, I'm reading that thing, I'm putting it in my spirit. I'm thanking the Most High for each and every one of y'all. I have so many elders that have been sending emails and just giving me pointers, encouraging me, telling me to continue. Y'all, I just could not thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. Being young, being on this walk, being in the area where there's no other Israelites you can really talk to have such a supportive family, y'all. And that's what we're working towards with Zion Dynasty. My vision is to go into ministry, create a ministry for Israelites to be able to come to that are in the region, so we can fellowship and so we can get these teachings out and I can touch face with people, you know, because doing the lessons online, I love it, family, but to just be able to interact and love and fellowship with Zion is my heart. So I thank y'all for just keeping me prayed up, just supporting me and Shiny D doing this work, and I love you all. So we're gonna jump right into it, family. We're gonna deal with our dear brother, our dear Israelite, whether he comes kicking and screaming, even if he doesn't want to acknowledge himself as an Israelite. It's a lot of Christians that I know that are like that. Our Israelite brother, Alan Parr, we got to deal with this, family. And y'all, this is very heavy on my heart, and I'm gonna try not to get too passionate about it, but this is the kind of stuff, family, that really frustrates me. It frustrates me when I see our Israelite brethren that are still in the Christian church that clearly do not respect us as Israel. It's not about their theology. It's not about y'all are saying hate speech. It's not about, well, that's done away with. The law is done away with. God doesn't care about that anymore. Israel is replaced with whosoever will.
That's what the Israelite talking about. Well, you know, Israel done away with, you know, whosoever will, let them come.
Hey, yo, y'all Israel now. Oh, y'all black folks, so y'all Jews, we was kings. Oh, y'all think y'all is Jews, now you Jewish.
And legalism and, yeah, these Israelites trying to turn us back to the law of Moses. And yeah, neither Jew nor Greek, we're without end, that don't matter. Just talking about whosoever will call upon the name of Christ will be saved. For God so loved the world. Well, JB, we ain't saying he didn't came, we just saying he was a rainbow. He came for all colors. Don't nobody really know what he looked like.
They saying, well, you can't use Deuteronomy 28.
Even though it says we're gonna go into a country as swift as the eagle flies.
Oh no, you can't use that.
Even though it says we're gonna have a yoke of iron around our neck, you can't use that. That's been fulfilled. Even though it says you're gonna go into slavery again on slave cargo ships, oh, that's already been fulfilled. And I'm like, Negro, it's not about that, family. Because when the Ish people show up, our people know how to oh yeah, they're a chosen people. Oh yeah, we gotta pray for that victory. An entirely, y'all gotta hear me now. An entirely different sentiment presents itself. Oh Negro, oh now that the Ish man is here, Oh, Israel is so integral to Bible prophecy, to the end times, to eschatology. They know everything to say. Israel has to be regathered. Israel has to come from the four corners of the earth and return to Zion. Israel matters. Israel is always God's heart, always his chosen people. Oh, how our people will switch up. And I know so many leaders like this, family, that and that's why even when I go to work, family, I want to encourage all of y'all that see this blatant hypocrisy, this blatant contradiction, even when you deal with your family and even when you go on your jobs. Some of y'all are vocal with the way you live. I wear my kufis at work and got my beard and my fringes and that kind of thing. And you see the level of hypocrisy. You see that they'll come against you, they'll belittle you, they'll throw shade, gaslight you. But if a young white Ashkenazi Jew comes in, oh man, tell me about y'all being the chosen people. As a Christian, I think it's so amazing that God in this hour is resurrecting Israel. It is sad, family, and it's enough to really hurt your heart and have you in tears, which I have gone through, to see that level of contradiction. You don't have a problem with Israel, you have a problem with your own people. That's the same thing, JB. Exactly. You don't have a problem with white people saying that they're Israel and that kind of thing. I'm just telling the truth, family. But when you have the well-documented black Jews of Nigeria, when you have the Igbo, when you have the Yoruba, when you have the Akan, when you have the Bantu, when you have all these different colored black Israelites, and you have the diaspora of these people that can prove their genealogy, that can prove that they're linked to the Limba tribe, the Levites of the southern kingdom of Judah, that can prove that they come from the Yoruba, Benai Ephraim, son of Joseph of the northern kingdom, that can prove that they come from the Akan and these different segments of the kingdom of Judah within the Gold Coast of South Africa, verified by the Jewish Encyclopedia, verified by Harvard Tudor Parfit, verified by Oxford Edith Bruder, verified by the slave maps that were used to go into Africa and show the European colonists where to get their slaves from. And on those regions that they went through, on the maps, were Israelites. Even if we have all that evidence, our people still have a natural disdain for black people, their own community, coming into their history. And it's sad, family. It hurts my heart. So this brings us to Brother Alan Parr. This brother, I'm gonna show y'all a clip, and I did a reaction to this a while back. Y'all try to find that video. I'm gonna try to pick the card up for you guys, where he was calling Israelites a cult. He had an interview with one brother saying, explain to me about this cult. Tell me about how to look out for these Israelites, these Hebrews. They don't like BHI. They don't like black Hebrew Israelites. They think that's derogatory. Where he was doing all these videos and investigating, interrogating, and coming against Israelites. Then this brother, a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, has an Israeli guy on his platform to explain to him why Israel matters. Y'all, it was the other slap in the face. It was just a spit in the face of every one of his people. Because you took it out your time to come against us saying that we Israel. Then you support Israel's stance from a eschatological standpoint, from an end time prophecy. Israel matters. They got to be restored. They have to preach the message to reawaken their people, to get them back to the land. You say all this when he on your platform. But then when it comes to Israelites that can prove their history more than those Ish people, you got a problem with that. So first, family, I could just go on and on. I'm going to show y'all that first clip where he says these are the tips that you need to keep in mind where you're dealing with the cult of the Hebrew Israelites. Let's check it out.
All right. Now, how do you approach a Hebrew Israelite? And then I'll move on, because I can talk about this stuff all day. How do you approach a Hebrew Israelite? Several things I want to talk to you about. Number one, you need to be skilled in the art of debate and apologetics. If you are going to have a discussion with a Hebrew Israelite, if you are not skilled in the area of debate and apologetics, you need to be very clear. You need to be very careful, and you may want to steer clear, because you may leave that conversation feeling more discouraged about your faith, because they know what they believe and why they believe it, which is very consistent with any cult group. And so if you're not strong to be able to defend what you believe.
Now, family, that you didn't seen that, let me show you this clip where he's with this Israeli guy, and I want y'all to listen to it, because this Israeli guy sounds just like Hebrew Israelites, saying Israel has to be reawakening, they have to turn back to their Messiah, they have to turn back to their heritage and the faith of Yeshua, they have to strive to get back to that land, they're going to lead and be an example for all nations, there's going to be a war to come against them. He goes through the whole thing, family, the same thing we've been saying, but our own people won't admit it, that they'll hear it from them. but they do not respect their own people and the scholarship that the thing that gave you life brings to you. They have low self-esteem from a spiritual standpoint. Y'all gotta hear me. So let's check that video out.
Well, hey Beat family, I am so very excited to introduce to some and to welcome to others a new friend of mine whose name is Amir, and he is really passionate about end time prophecy and all things concerning the nation of Israel. His testimony is absolutely amazing, and I know that many of you who watch this channel, you really love end time events, and you really love to learn a little bit more about the role that Israel is playing in the unfolding and the unveiling of God's divine, eternal, eschatological plan. And Amir is going to come and share with us things that he knows because he is from there, he lives there, he grew up there, and he has insights into the nation of Israel that I do not have. And so I am so very excited to welcome on to my channel, Amir. Amir, so glad that you are here today, my brother. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Alan. It's my pleasure to be on your program. If they already know that the angel said that he's alive, they were still sad. They were still angry. They were confused. They were embarrassed. And Jesus is listening to all of their rant about all of these events. And then he said to his disciples, "O foolish ones and slow of heart to believe that which the prophets have said." You see, if you understood, if you believed everything that Isaiah and Jeremiah and Hosea all wrote, you would have known that I had to come, I had to suffer, I had to die, and then I had to resurrect. But you did not believe. You heard it and did not believe. And now comes the point of the future of my nation, because, you know, Israel is a miracle. No matter how you can look at it, there is no logical explanation to the rebirth of a nation after 2,000 years of being away from its land, the rebirth of a language that was not being spoken anywhere, the rebirth of a land that was a barren wasteland. You know, Mark Twain shows up in the middle of the 1800s to Israel, and he writes that even the cactus, which is a great friend of the desert, did not live there. I mean, it was that bad. And so God restored the land, restored the people back to their land, restored their language. This is something that no one has an explanation to unless you read Bible prophecy and you know that God promised the nation of Israel that at the very end, he will bring them back to their land. And so the return of the Jews back to their land and the establishment of the state of Israel in 1948, can a nation be born in a moment at once? Yes, a nation was born immediately. And as soon as Zion was ready to give birth, it did. And so Israel was born in 1948. And since then, it's in a constant battle to survive. And if you study the wars of Israel, and if you go beyond all the heroic stories, you will find out that unless the Lord fought for us, we would have been just long ago completely dead. And so God not only brought the Jews back to their land, but he sustains them in the land up until today. So that is a huge thing, because when Jesus spoke to the disciples about the signs of the end, he gave them an interesting parable on the fig tree. And he said, learn the parable from the fig tree. When its leaves comes back to be green and barefoot, then you know that the summer is near. The fig tree is a symbol of the national privileges of Israel. You know, you can be olive tree as a Gentile. You can be a fig tree, a vine as a Gentile, because these are the spiritual and religious privileges that now you have also. But as a Gentile, you cannot be the fig tree, because that is the national privilege of Israel. And Israel is being born now. Nationally, it's being born right now. And so the Bible says, when you see, he's telling the church, when you see the fig tree coming back to life, when the church sees that Israel is back to life nationally, you know that summer is near. So this is already a big sign of that we are at the very end times. But You know, when you sail through the book of Revelation, you can clearly see that maybe God restored Israel back physically to their land, but now he has to restore them spiritually also back to himself. That has not happened yet. We are now at the point where the Jewish people are back in their land, but they're not back to their God, and they're not yet acknowledging their Messiah. Not yet. I'm saying not yet because Paul said to the church in Rome, in Romans 11, that eventually all Israel will be saved. But he said something has to happen first. You know, the time of the Gentiles have to come in. There has to be something. And so we're going to see something very interesting, Alan, that is going to happen in the land of Israel. First of all, according to the book of Ezekiel, after the restoration of the land and the people back to the land, there will be a big war. A war that oftentimes we tend to push aside and not think of, but it's a war that unless God would intervene, Israel wouldn't exist anymore. It's a war that is called by many Gog and Magog, but that war in Ezekiel is actually called Gog from the land of Magog. And that is, of course, a war that most scholars believe will come from the north, led by Russia, but Persia, which is Iran, and Turkey and others will join it. And the Bible doesn't say that the generals of the Israeli army are going to defeat the enemy. The Bible doesn't say that the Israeli Secret Service will defeat the enemy. The Bible says that the God of Israel will defeat the enemy. We will be powerless. We won't be able to sustain that blow. But God once again will stand for his nation, because he's not done with them. He's not through with them. He still has a plan for them. And I think that now comes his dealing with them spiritually. Israel.
You can see how this had your boy on 10. And I haven't seen anybody do a reaction to it yet. I just had to deal with this, because we can't let this kind of stuff fly and they think that they can do it and ain't nobody gonna check that. Bro, I didn't check that. I didn't peep that game that you with. You just was bashing Israelites, saying they're a hate group by trying to tell their people who their ethnicity is and the tribes in Africa that they come from, like the Yoruba and the Limba and the Igbo that go back to Israel. You said,
if you look at the Library of Congress, family, in the Houston Daily Post, I'm gonna try to let you guys see this. It talks about a Negro who could read and write Hebrew. Now it says he is deaf and dumb and comes from an African town in Hartford, Connecticut, September 19. A young African Negro has been in this city for the last few days who claims to be a Hebrew. He is deaf and dumb.
You said we're a hate group for doing that, my guy. Then you got the Ishmael or Israeli guy on there saying, yes, Israel matters, they are God's people, we are the chosen people, the Most High will restore Zion, all of this, and you're just nodding and smiling, and because you know they come from backing. You want to hear me now? They know that they have support. Our people know that they can treat white people and other ethnicities, Chinese people, Jewish people, they can treat them with respect. I gotta deal with it, family, I got to. They can treat them with respect and not treat their own people with respect, because they know nobody fights for us. So they're saying, man, they're the dominant people, Europeans. I might as well kiss their butt. I might as well, because they can pay me, they can promote me. They have a support system that if I come against one of them, I'm coming against all of them. So you got Negroes, and I gotta tell the truth, family, that will side with other nations because they know that they're a nation. And this is the one thing I caught from that Jewish brother. He said, can a nation be born in a day? Y'all, our people are so unwilling to stick with one another while we rebuild Zion. Yes, it's going to be work. Yes, we're going to have disagreements. Yeah, we're going to fall out. And I want to say shout out to Pastor Kelly, my beloved elder, even Elder Benea. I love all, Brother Teo, just so many Israelites, New Breed, just so many of y'all that are doing great work. Even the camps, IUIC, doing their thing, going into these churches, holding these pastors accountable, doing their march on Washington. I love each and every one of y'all, because it takes all of us to do this work. And our people, yeah, we're gonna have falling outs, we're gonna have disagreements, because it takes time to build a nation, but it can be done. Especially a people as destitute as the Israelites, as our people, that we're just finding out about these old books. We're finding out about the Igbo. We're finding out that most of us come from Nigeria. We're finding out that a lot of us are linked to the Limba. We're finding this stuff out for the first time. Now, some of us have oral tradition that we can prove it, but as a community, we're finding this stuff out, and it's gonna take time. But a lot of our family choose to rather jump to a ready-made oven, a ready-made meal, and they don't want to slow stir that thing. They don't want to suffer with their own people to build their own community, explore our history, our African, Nigerian, our Israelite history. They don't want to suffer with Zion. They want to reign with their own. And it's sad, family, because you're taking the easy approach. You're taking, I'll go on my job and sell out this Negro because my boss is a white man to promote me. Or he'll give me a raise. Or he'll give me a position where I don't even have to come into work. I'm going to deal with it, family. These Negroes will sell you out because they don't want to suffer with their own people. Oh, what a great shame. Oh, do you not have any dignity to forsake the thing that gave you life? To forsake your own flesh and blood? Oh, yeah, we ain't no people. I ain't related to y'all. Negro, if you look at the slave database, they took us all from the same people. We all got the same blood, and we are the same community. And for you to think that God is not going to hold you accountable for forsaking your own because you want to go with the party that's ruling, understand Egypt was a superpower during their day as well. And we see what happened to them. We see what the Most High said is going to happen to Babylon, that he's going to bring down the lofty pride of them that know themselves to be more than but men. But yet you don't have the faith to tarry but a little season with your people while we're getting this thing right, while we're learning this history, while we're trying to build one another up. You would rather go team up with white folks to sabotage your own people. You would rather support their agenda of them having the right to be a nation in 1948 than to support Zion, the Israelites that can prove their history with a table of seals, with genealogical tables, with an oral tradition the Yoruba have going back thousands of years. But because we're catching hell in this age, but because we're despised in this age, because we're the least of these in this age, it takes a big man and a big woman to stand and put their neck out there for people that might still come against you. You might spend your whole life saving black people, defending black people, and they might turn on you. But does that make the work less worth it? To build the sacred people of the Creator? Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I look at this stuff and I be like, this is the spirit I encounter every day, family. Negroes that will sell their own people out for the approval of the dominant people. And white people know our brains are like that, so they just take one of us, elevate one of us, and say, well, you watch this other one. This is the same spirit of the taskmaster, hear me, in ancient Egypt. We hear about how Pharaoh made the life hard for the Israelites, and we think that when he set taskmasters over them, that these were Egyptians. These were other Israelites that made them serve with rigor, that made them get their own bricks and their own mortar to make the bricks to build the pyramids. Look at your history. Read the book of Exodus. They used our own people against us. Then they went to our sisters and said, whenever you give birth to a man-child, throw him in the river. It was divide and conquer. And any kingdom divided amongst itself, family, cannot stand. So all they do is take subtle, simple Negroes that don't love their own mama or their own uncle and sell out their own cousin for some bread. They'll take them, put them in positions of power to watch the other people. And I don't want to pit Brother Alan Parr. I don't want to I pray the brother wakes up and repents and builds his people. But with the following that he has, and I hate to say it, family, he has a lot of support from Europeans because they know that he's not going to side with black folks. He's going to preach a message that makes them feel good about their sin, makes them feel good about them oppressing God's people, makes them think that Egypt wasn't judged, makes them think that if they come against Israel, it's not going to be no repercussions, makes them think that the Most High don't got shooters on the roof and that you're marked for judgment, to make them feel all right with the wickedness that they've done to y'all's people, to make them think that there's not going to be any retribution, to make them think that God has forgot, to make them think that they can hide behind this willful ignorance that I didn't know that was going on. I just believe that if everybody works hard, they'll have equal opportunities. You don't believe that, but because all you talk to is other white people that think the same way, you can hide and pitch your conscience to sleep. That's why our prophets got to do this work. Y'all got to hear me. That's why we got to tell them these things. That's why we got to say, no, the Most High see you, baby. He see you hiding in the fabric of your own soul. He see you trying to sear your conscience like a hot iron. You want to burn it. You want to get rid of it. Make it burnt to a crisp, or you won't hear that voice telling telling you that I'm gonna come for you and your people for what you've done to my children. So family, we gotta pray for these black brothers. We gotta pray for these black leaders that they come out of the easy way and that they come back to the living God. Because whenever you see Israel going through in the Bible, you always see the Most High say he gonna bring judgment. But our people don't have the faith to endure the suffering with their own people and believe that God's gonna restore them. So family, we gotta pray for them more now than ever. I just had to share that with y'all. I thought that was the biggest chaos in history when I saw this same Alan Parr supporting the Ishman over there in the land. But then he said that Israelites in America, his own people that can prove their genealogy, they're a hate group. So family, we gotta pray for these brothers and these sisters that's doing this work. They don't know what they're doing, and we gotta pray that they wake up. And Israel, we got to come together and set that precedent and that example to let them feel like they're coming to be a part of something. Because if they feel like we're divided, they're going to team up with white folks all day, because white folks at the snap of a finger can come together. So leadership in Israel, we got to come together, and we got to pray for these Israelites that's out here siding with the nations. We got to pray that they repent and turn back to the Most High and support their own people. So family, with that, I got to say peace, love, blessings. I hope y'all got something out of it. Y'all like this video up, comment, share, subscribe. I love you all with the love of the Messiah. Peace, love, blessings, and Israelite power. We win in the end, Zion. We win in the end. I love you all. Be blessed. Shalom. All praises.